Hi everyone. In this second video of our creative blending mode to create a postcard tutorial, I've already got an image canvas and it's blank currently, and we're going to be exploring how to get our imagery onto the canvas and do some experimentation, a little bit about the layers blending mode as well, and some best practices for resizing and cropping. Okay, to get started, we need to go and make sure we've got plenty of imagery ready and available. And like I said before, I usually collect my own photos and background pictures, and I wanted to get started with something from the my farmer's market here. I kind of liked this one. So I want to open it. So I've gone in and navigated to my image, and I can right click to go ahead and open in. I'm selecting open with, and I've got to see which one, the Photoshop Creative Cloud, of course. And that is it will be a separate tab in Photoshop. This photo is much larger, and so if I go to bring this into the piece that I've already created, then it's going to be much larger and I'm going to need to resize it. The other way that you can work with the picture initially, instead of making a separate picture to start with, you could crop this and go from there. But you do want to make sure that you can put in a ratio or a size, and if you do that, you can go with 6 IN. If you put IN for inches, you'll know that it's in terms of inches, okay, because I have it in terms of pixels currently. So 4.25, okay, that's the ratio, and right now it's just showing the ratio. So if I were to hold down my shift key while I click and drag one of the corners, then I'm also looking at the height and width, the little piece box above where I'm dragging, and you can actually see what size that you're constraining it to. Now, we don't like to make it so that our pictures are being made larger. Okay, I'm clicking and dragging towards the middle so that I can kind of get this constrained a little bit and moved around to the ideal spot. Okay, I kind of like this right here. If I go ahead and crop it by double clicking, okay, that sets the crop, and the rest of the pixels pretty much go away. Now, I'm not going to save my original, but I do want to keep in mind that I don't want to bring my picture into my project and resize by making it larger, because all that does is make it my picture blurry, and we don't want blurriness. What Photoshop tries to do is to fill in the details with just extra pixels, and that just is not going to work very well. It makes it blurry. Downsizing or downsampling is best. If you make things smaller, then the detail will still be there. So to utilize this as my picture, then I might go to, under the image drop-down menu, image size, keep my proportions constrained. In fact, if I want to put the resolution up, this resample will keep my height and width the proper size. Let's say I want this to be 150 pixels, and then the width be 6. And because I have the constraints on the width and height tied together, then the height is going to follow suit. I mean, this is just slightly more, but it's approximately the right size. Okay. If this were to be printed out with a bleed edge, in other words, all of the edges touches the edges of the paper, then you might need a little bit more around the picture for commercial purposes. An 1/8 of an inch all the way around is good, so you might want to add to that. Okay, so I want to go ahead and click OK, and really that reconfigured the size of it. You can see here I'm seeing it only at 1/4 of size. What if I were to zoom in, Command or Control plus, again, gets you into your picture much deeper. Okay, so we can add layers to this as we want to, or I can bring this over into another a picture like my blank canvas. I'm actually going to work with this one as is, but the first thing that I want to do in this case is to save it. So save as. I don't want to save over the original because otherwise I lose that nice large picture and I might want to use it for other things. Okay, putting it into my project particularly so that I don't lose where I'm at with these things. So I've got an examples place for this. Blending modes. Okay, so I want to actually rename this my fresh postcard. And I also want to change the format. Okay, if we look at the formats, JPEG you're usually used to. It's screen viewable. It's a way that a lot of cameras take the picture. It's a JPEG format. But there are different formats. We'll learn a little bit more in another video. This is the Photoshop format. Up at the top, just select Photoshop. And you'll notice when I click on that, it turns the this into a PSD. That's the Photoshop native format. Okay, so we'll save that, and then I'm ready to go. So I need to bring another picture in, and I'd like to navigate my system again to get to, okay, pictures. I have things all over the place. In other projects, you might want to bring your pictures right in with your project, which makes it a lot easier. Okay, backgrounds. And I do collect some of these from like Lost and Taken. I've got some grungy looking backgrounds, which I think I've checked out a couple of these. And I kind of liked a little bit of a texture. These are ideal because they have a more of a neutral color. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and open that. Open with Photoshop. Okay, and again, it's going to be quite large. Now I could take off the ratio if I want to on this and not have it cropped that way. Don't crop. I just want to bring this over, and to bring over a picture and just kind of decide later where I want to have it on the picture. If you go in under Select and you want to use your marquee, select all, it's Command or Control A. In this way it will select all pixels on the picture. You want to copy it, so you're copying all the things that are selected, all the pixels that are selected. I'm going to paste it. Okay, and it really covers everything. This is really, really close up. It's actually kind of a blurry picture. Now I'm going to zoom out because I want you to see something. If I were to have to resize this, what I want to do is go under the Edit drop-down menu, select Transform, and I want to scale it. And this is going to put a bounding box. Whoa, you can see that it's quite large. How do I get it so that it's going to shrink? Well, I could, holding my Shift key down, click and drag. It's going kind of the other way. But I want you to notice this up in the Options panel here. We've got, again, a little bounding box, a miniature one right here. This is our reference point location we can click to constrain the proportions here, and the width and height. We can type in some information, or if you notice, if I click and drag on the W, anything with numbers in Photoshop, it will shrink or make larger depending which direction we go. Of course, I don't want to make it bigger. And if I click on the reference point to the corner, then it's going to shrink it from the other side. It's going to keep that pinned to the point, and as I'm dragging to make this thing smaller, there you go. Okay, so that's pretty nice, right? Oh, about, let's see, 29% or so. Let's type in 29 because I never know exactly what it is. Okay, so to set that into place, double click, and then what I want to do is set a blending mode to start with. Okay, so your blending modes are here in the layers panel, right here, and I want to click and select one of these blending modes to start experimentation. You'll see that they're kind of categorized. The first one's to make things darker as they mix with the layer underneath. The next category is to lighten everything. The one with the overlay that intensifies the colors. Then the next category down we have where it's kind of like an opposite or an inverted effect, these ones here. And the last ones work with the color that the image or the layer actually contains. Okay, so if I go to, say, multiply, okay, let's zoom in. And if I multiply it, it's bringing in just the texture, and it's using the dark and the light to texturize this picture. So you can kind of see the difference. If I really want it to affect what's underneath, I might try a few other types. Okay, so more or less it's going to show the top layer or the bottom layer mixing with the layers underneath. Color burn, something like that, is a little bit more drastic, and so you'll be able to see the effects. I like that one. It almost makes it look like it's hand drawn or colorized. Okay, so in the next video we're going to experiment even more to finish this